to monitor what you guys do on social media. Or if you work with talent, always try to keep it clean and not do what Kanye West is doing. That's the best example right now, to be honest. And I would not want to be his PR right now, truthfully. Um, but seriously, though, on a different level, it's really important to go easy on social media and try to keep, I know it's easier said than done, but try to keep your social media as clean as possible and let your work speak for yourself or your client work speak for themselves. Um, it's really easy right now with social media for people to just go out there and say what they want. That's the negative part of social media. The beauty of social media is that there's so much great information, great way of connecting, networking with people, but because it's so easy to just have a negative comment or negative situation pop up, you need to always make sure that for your own client or yourself, you monitor, and then also for your client, you work with the media because you always want to have a great image out there about your client. You need to try to keep the negativity out of everything, especially for a talent, because it's really quick that it could you could be at the top and you could go right back down. Again, like I'm just gonna say Kanye just because of his comment, like he pretty much destroyed his own self by the comment he posted. And that's something you guys need to be careful about, even like for your own sake. So yeah.
Okay,
Does that make
great.
sense? Yeah, right?
Yes. So I'm glad so far there is no a lot of crisis for your talents that can happen. But maybe can you tell us about like what would be like a success stories and a failure stories of crisis communication from your perspective? Maybe not with your talents, but with other talents that you see or notice.
I think that a good success story would be to flip the narrative, meaning you take the negative and you bring the positive out of it. Um, and again, it is really easier said than done, but I feel like by doing a proper media relation, social media monitoring, um, and crisis communication plan with your talent and brief him and make him understand or make her understand how to, I hate saying this, but how to behave. And I'm saying this, and again, it's way easier said than done because you're not in the person's head. You don't know what the person will post tomorrow, always, in the sense that the person can be like in a bad mood and decide to just go ahead and post. And unfortunately, you're on the receiving end. You can say all the best comment. I mean, you can tell them the best like advice and be there for him or her, whatever. But at the end of the day, they they're a human. That's the thing. A brand, it's different because if it's a pen company, well, the pen cannot talk. You know what I mean? But when it's a human, you don't know their mood, and most of the time, like you can control. Like they will still go on social media even if they have a social media person. But I think like the best outcome would literally be to, if there is a negative situation, to bring back the positive and just, if it's something about Jew, the Jew or Black people or whatever it is, just to try to come back with something positive. I know when it's in the negative, it's hard, but yeah.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions? Mm, maybe you can have questions about the social media. You know, she's very experienced with social media. If any of you is working with social media, you have any question, what kind of aspects that you'd like to ask?
I have a question. So you said you've never dealt with a crisis, but do you have a crisis plan in place if your like clients or your firm ever had one? Like not because you said you've had a personal crisis, but you've never
Yes.
had one for your clients.
Good question.
Actually, that is a good question. I used to not particularly have one, but I'm telling you that since the summer, I do. It's a really hard knock life example. So yes, um, but the situation is, I mean, the plan is really take a deep breath at first and then evaluate what's happening. Because more sometimes what happens is that people will just react when everything is hot, and that's the worst thing you can do because all it's going to do is going to be fire on top of fire on top of fire. If you take a step back, make sure you get the proper response, then go ahead with a statement. And then go from there and step by step and monitor what's getting said, what needs to be done. And again, it all depends on the situation. For me, because I know I was not in the wrong, and my lawyer was literally like, just don't say anything because the person did that to so many people in the past. So he was just like, you know what, just stay quiet. It's going to die down. And people will, there was nothing more than that, basically. That's what I'm saying. But so for me, staying quiet was the best way. However, in other situation, you need to react and come up with a good statement, and you need to have like your strong team around you with the strong statement to write it for you, because you don't want the talent to write it. That's no, that could not be good.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Hmm. Anything you can think of? So tell
Do
us
you
more
guys
about
do?
social
I
media.
was just about to say. So, do you guys have your internship? You guys are all ready to finish everything?
Yeah, I see lots of people nodding. Okay, so does anyone have, you've all had internships before. I know we talked about this before in class, and many of them are doing work or done work related to social media. So how can you, what kind of advice would you give them in terms of social media management, whether for crisis or outside of crisis too?
Social media advice. Make sure, like I said before, number one, I know you guys are in university. I know you're almost done, but you're still young. Just if you want to post party picture or anything like that, do a separate account, meaning do something super private that only your friend can see. And I'm saying this for the simple fact that this day and age, again, with the cancel culture, but also in general state of mind, it's easy to retrace anything, and you don't want anyone, a potential client, if you go freelance, or you guys are in the public eyes. You guys are not, you guys aren't celebrity or sports athletes or whatnot. However, because of the what you guys are going to work in, either journalists, either in PR, you are in the public eye. So you need to be extremely careful to what you guys post. So party pictures are cool. We've all done it, you know, and I still go out, and I'm 41, but I try to be careful to what I post. Even posting pictures with a glass of wine or a shot, or I know it's basic, but even like for you guys, when you talk to your client, make sure that any pictures don't have alcohol involved, unless it's a promo for an alcohol. That's something else, but I'm just saying. um but in general, please be as clean as possible with anyone Instagram, yours included, because even a potential client will look and will do kind of background check, but not really, and they will look at what you guys have posted in the past, and it always have to align with their mentality. So, and then please, oh, also be consistent on social media. Don't just, I mean, depends for who. Like if it's for you, but for your potential company you're gonna work with or work for, just be as consistent as possible with posting. And make sure there's always a good story in the post.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions? Mm,
I'll
Yes,
ask a
Gary.
question. I'm
Go ahead.
right now working in social media. I like work with a social media agency. And since social media is changing so rapidly, how do you stay on top of trends or how do you just how do you stay on top of it
Yeah.
all with like the
Um,
different clients that you have as well?
yeah, it is hard to be honest. And sometimes I look at the younger generation, like you guys, to help me navigate because it is a lot. I'm not gonna lie. There's always something popping out every single day, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. But what I do, and that's something else for you guys too. What I always do is I'll do my research. I'll study things, and even if I've been in the industry for so long, I'm still learning every single day. And I'm saying this because for even for you guys are the younger generation. You guys help us learn more. As much as you guys could think that, oh yeah, like we're just going in an agency and we're new, like we need to just stay quiet and do our work. You guys can help the others to learn more. And that's something that people normally like is that when you bring extra knowledge to them, it's going to prove that you guys are really involved and really want to bring your work to the next level. So the point of this is even for me, I will go and learn about the trends. I'll go to shoot, what's the name of it? I think it's Wonderman Thompson, something like that. They do the trends for everything like metaverse, social media. Um, they have each year the top 100 or 150 trends for the next year. And you could download it and it's free. I just can't remember. I think it's Wonderman Thompson. But but to answer your question, to me it's important that I learn all the time, and that's how I keep up with the trends, and that's how I send like tidbits to my clients, and I'm like, hey, we should try this. Oh, maybe this, because not every clients are on the same level. So some people will love TikTok because TikTok is for them. Some others Instagram, and it really depends on what they do. Like if they are NFL players, if they are like actors, stand-up comedian. So yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
That's good. So how do you recruit talent, if I may ask?
Yeah. Well, by doing talks like this. Even if I'm in Montreal, I always have like interns via internet, if I could say that. But it's good for me in the way that people in different states have different way of doing things. So it's always good for me, and I love it too to have like interns a little bit everywhere because these days, and I keep saying that too, especially in a PR standpoint, you don't need to be in a particular city to work in that particular city. And I'm a good example because I'm always in New York, even though I have clients in Toronto. I live in Montreal now, but I work with my clients in New York, or I work with media in Mexico. And but on the same idea, as an FYI, just make sure that before you work with a certain city or states or province in Canada, just or a different country for matter of fact, just make sure you learn the culture and you always like, and I'm saying this, you guys are still at school. Take the time to take the newspaper, just read the headline. Doesn't matter. We don't need the whole paragraph, but just be aware of what's happening in Canada, in Mexico. I know it's really basic what I'm saying, but it's just because and I say that to Canadian people all the time too. Because sometimes we're too centered into what's happening with us. But because you guys again, journalism, PR, so important to learn what's happening in everywhere else. And it doesn't take long. Honestly, you just browse the headline and you're good. And to recruit people, yeah, I always look across, because I like to have like diversity and different culture in different parts of the world. Because to me it's important, because that way, A, I learn more, B, it makes it easier for me to understand those different parts.
Mhm. And another question, speaking of social media, do you use any social media analytics platforms?
I don't, because someone else is doing it for me. So personally, I don't.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
I'll
Good.
do the post and everything, but they do it for me.
Okay. And do you use does their evaluations help you in making future posts and stuff? Yeah.
It does. Yeah, that's one thing too. It's really important to know the insight, what's happening, which country, uh, talents have like different interactions and time of the day and whatnot. And the reason why it's important is because A, you need as much engagement in your post as possible, and knowing the way you want to post. Some people, you can post like a bunch of stories, others not so much, because it's gonna go down in views or whatnot. But yeah, no, analytics are so important. It literally make your work easier.
Mm, mm. Karina, do you work with analytics or anyone else in your internship before or not yet?
Yeah, I
Okay.
personally do. Like every month we go through and see like what did best, what didn't, what got most engagement. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Which
it's
analytic platforms you use, Karina?
I use both Sprout Social and Hootsuite.
Okay.
Hootsuite is good.
Yeah.
We use Google Analytics.
Google Analytics. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Okay. So, any other questions? Yeah. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us today. Please join me in giving her like a warm applause.
Thanks, everyone. If
Thank
you
you so
guys have
much for
question or
joining.
anything, feel free to add me on LinkedIn or Instagram, one of the other.
Yes. I can send them your full name, or maybe in
Yeah.
the chat. In the chat, you can have it. You can write down in the chat so that everyone can see it.
Oh yeah, let me do this. Where is this? Oh, right here.
Yeah. I'll just be like, hi.
Let me do this.
Oh, yeah.
Did I
Great.
just delete this? Oh, no.
No. We have it here. I can see it.
Yeah, I just saw that after. I'm like, oh. And then you could just Google my name and it's gonna bring you up to my LinkedIn. And that's my Instagram.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. You guys were awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.